All right, so today we're going deep on something I bet you see every day, but probably don't think too much about.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Dog blinks. You know, those puppy dog eyes that just melt your heart. What if there's more to them than meets the eye?
Now, that's a question that's got scientists really interested, and we've got a whole pile of sources to dig into. We've got studies, articles from Vice CE and Science Alert, a blog post, even a YouTube video.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. But
Yeah.
okay, so we all know dogs communicate. They bark, they wag their tails, they do all sorts of things.
Right.
But do their blinks actually mean something?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we blink, they blink. What's the big deal? Well, a new study is published in Royal Society Open Science. They observed 54 dogs watching videos of other dogs.
Okay.
And get this, they blinked more when they saw those dogs on screen, also blinking.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying like they were copying each other's blinks, like some kind of doggy Morse code? Yeah.
Well, it certainly seems to point in that direction. Think about it. Humans, we do the same thing. When we're in a conversation, we often unconsciously synchronize our blinks with the person we're talking to.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah. It's this subtle way of building rapport, showing we're paying attention.
So maybe dogs are doing the same thing, like mimicking those blinks to connect with each other.
Exactly. And when you combine this with what we already know about calming signals, things like licking their noses or turning their heads away, a fascinating pattern emerges.
Wait, are you saying blinking could be a way for a dog to say, chill out? I always thought those signals were just dog stuff.
Right, right. But remember, dogs, they evolved from wolves, animals that lived in packs with really strict social hierarchies, right? So avoiding conflict, that was crucial for survival. These signals probably help prevent fights, maintain harmony within the pack.
I see. So by blinking, a dog might be saying, hey, I'm not looking for trouble.
Exactly. It's all about projecting those non-threatening vibes.
Kind of like how they sometimes approach people sideways instead of straight on.
You got it. It's all about not seeming like a threat. But here's the thing. Some of our sources also mention blinking can mean a dog is frustrated.
Really? Now that seems contradictory.
The context is key here. That VCE article, it had this funny example. Imagine your dog is staring at you, waiting for you to, fill their food bowl.
Oh, right.
And they're blinking rapidly.
Okay.
So in
Yeah.
that case, it's less about calm down and more like, hey, hurry up with the kibble.
I'm hungry. Yeah.
Exactly. So some studies link blinking to calmness. Others suggest it can signal frustration when, a dog's needs aren't being met. The trick is to look at the whole picture.
This reminds me of that CBS Philadelphia video where they talked about how slow blinking can actually calm an aggressive dog.
Right.
And that humans can do it too. Could that be another adaptation for living with humans?
That's a really sharp observation, and it really gets at the heart of that dog-human bond. If slow blinking helps dogs chill out with each other, it makes sense. They might have figured out it works on us too.
Yeah, it's hard to resist those puppy dog eyes.
Tell me about it. The Dog with Blog even suggests trying it with your own dog as a way to, build trust.
Oh, interesting. But isn't that like a little manipulative? Are we tricking them into feeling safe?
That's a valid point. But if we're approaching it with, genuine positive intentions, it's more like, I think, speaking their language. You're sending a clear message. Hey, I'm feeling safe and relaxed. You can too.
So it's not about forcing them to feel a certain way, but more about like creating that atmosphere of trust.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that.
And this brings us to the bigger picture of dog communication, right? Blinking is fascinating, but we can't forget about all those other signals. Ear position, tail wags, all the classic canine sounds. Remember that Pet Community Center blog post?
Oh, yeah, they really emphasized understanding the whole dog, not just one body part.
Right.
Like a wagging tail doesn't always mean happiness.
Exactly. It's like trying to understand a language by only knowing a few words, right? You need the whole vocabulary and the grammar to really get the meaning.
So a wagging tail with, like, pinned back ears might tell a different story than a wag with relaxed ears and a happy pant.
You got it. And the same goes for growling. It's not always aggression. Sometimes it's a warning or a way of saying, hey, I'm not comfortable. It's all about context.
This is making me rethink, like, everything I thought I knew about my dog.
It's amazing, right?
I'm really curious to hear more about these other communication signals and how they all tie into this whole blinking puzzle.
It's like we're decoding the sequel dog language.
Yeah, we're cracking the code.
But before we get too carried away, let's think about how dogs even got here, you know? I mean, they went from wolves out in the wild to cuddling on our couches. That's quite the journey.
It's a pretty wild transformation when you think about it.
It really is. And we always talk about how we domesticated dogs, right?
Right.
But what if it was more of a two-way street? What if they domesticated us a little bit, too?
Wait, are you saying dogs, like, trained us? I mean, I've taught my dog to fetch, but I don't know that she's trained me to do anything except maybe refill her water bowl whenever she gives me that look.
Right, but think about it. Those puppy dog eyes, the wagging tails, the excited greetings when you come home,
Oh, yeah.
they all played a part in forging that bond between humans and canines.
Okay, I see what you mean. Those behaviors definitely make me want to, give my dog all the love and treats.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of their plan.
Maybe so. They've certainly figured out how to tap into our instincts for nurturing and companionship. And remember those calming signals we talked about? Well, blinking may have been a key part of that whole domestication process.
Right. Because a wolf baring its teeth probably wouldn't have gotten an invitation to, like, share a cave with early humans, right?
Exactly. But a dog offering a slow blink? That's a different story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So those dogs that could signal, hey, I'm friendly, they were probably more likely to be welcomed into human settlements.
So they traded, like, growls for blinks and ended up with comfy beds and belly rubs. Sounds like a pretty good deal.
It's a win-win for both species, and it shows how even these small changes in communication can have a huge impact. We're talking about, a whole new kind of connection between species.
Mind-blowing. But let's get back to blinking specifically. We've talked about it as a calming signal, a sign of frustration, a bonding tool, even an evolutionary adaptation. How do we make sense of all these different meanings?
Well, it's kind of like detective work, isn't it? We have to look at all the clues before we can solve the mystery. And just like with humans, a blink doesn't always mean the same thing.
So we can't just assume every blink is a doggy, I love you.
Right. It's all about context. A blink while playing fetch could mean excitement, but a blink during a thunderstorm, that might be fear. We need to look at the whole picture, their body language, the environment, even our own behavior.
So if my dog is blinking a lot while I'm trying to teach him a new trick, maybe he's not being stubborn, maybe he's just stressed out.
Exactly. It's easy to misinterpret those signals. But the more we learn, the better we can understand their needs. And scientists, they're uncovering more clues all the time.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of research are they doing?
Well, they're studying dogs in all kinds of situations. Playful interactions, vet visits, stressful situations. They're measuring heart rate, observing behavior, even using brain imaging.
Wow, high tech. So what have they found out so far?
Well, one study found that dogs tend to blink more when they're anxious. It's like they're using blinking to calm themselves down, kind of like how we might take deep breaths when we're feeling overwhelmed.
That makes sense. I mean, we don't always give them enough credit for having complex emotions.
That's true. And this really shows how important it is to make sure our dogs feel safe and comfortable, especially in those situations that might be stressful for them. Things like vet visits, car rides, or even loud noises.
So if we notice our dog is blinking more than usual in those situations, it could be a sign they need a little extra TLC.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing those cues and responding with empathy and understanding. And that brings us to another important element of the dog-human bond: trust.
Trust. How does that relate to blinking?
Well, think about it. When a dog feels safe and secure with us, they're more likely to communicate openly, right? Through barks, wags, or, even blinks. But if they don't trust us, they might hide their true feelings, which makes it harder to understand what they need.
So building that strong, trusting relationship is key for good communication.
Absolutely. And that trust is built through consistency, kindness, and, really paying attention to what they're trying to tell us, even when it's something as subtle as a blink.
This makes me really think about, like, how I interact with my dog. I need to pay more attention to those little signals.
It's a journey for all of us. And the more we learn, the more we can appreciate how intelligent they are and all the amazing ways they connect with us. It's not just about training them to sit and stay. It's about, building a real partnership, one based on understanding and respect.
I'm starting to see my dog in a whole new light.
That's the power of knowledge, right? It
Yeah.
opens up new perspectives.
This has been so insightful. But before we get too philosophical, let's get back to the research on blinking. What else are scientists finding out about this behavior? Welcome back. We've been on this deep dive into the world of dog blinks.
Right, right.
We've talked about how they use blinking to calm themselves down, how it can be a sign of frustration, and even a way to connect with us.
Yeah, and it's incredible how much they're communicating with just this tiny little movement.
It really is. And it makes you wonder if there are other signals, other secret codes they're using that we haven't figured out yet.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I mean, the more we study animal behavior, the more we realize how much we don't know. There are probably all sorts of signals flying right over our heads.
Well, at least we're starting to crack the code a little bit, right? But what about putting all this knowledge into practice? Like, how can we use what we've learned about blinking to have a better relationship with our dogs?
Well, I think the first step is just being more aware.
Hmm.
Really pay attention to your dog's blinking. Do they blink a lot when they're excited? Slowly when they're relaxed? More when they're stressed?
So it's like learning a new language,
Yeah.
paying attention to the little details, the context.
Exactly. And remember that Dog with Blog article? They suggested trying some slow blinking exercises with your dog.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they did. But does that really work?
I found it can be really helpful. It's a simple way to send that calming signal, communicate your intentions, and build trust.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that with my dog. But it feels a little weird,
Yeah.
thinking about blinking as a deliberate way to communicate.
It might feel a bit strange at first, yeah. But remember, dogs, they're already fluent in this language. They've been doing it for centuries. We're just catching up.
So we're finally joining the conversation they've been having all along.
That's a great way to put it. And as you practice, and you really start to tune into your dog's signals, you'll be amazed at how much richer your communication becomes.
It's like unlocking this whole new level of understanding.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so rewarding. We're not just learning about dog blanks, we're deepening our connection with these incredible animals.
Well, this deep dive has been it's been amazing. I feel like I see my dog in a whole new way.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's always great to, spark that sense of wonder and appreciation for the animal world.
Well, I think it's time to let our listeners go and maybe try some slow blinking of their own. Who knows what secrets your dog might reveal.
Exactly. It's an adventure worth taking.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic to explore.